Ty Howard does far more than speak and write about accomplishing a dream. He lives it. Without further ado, please join me in welcoming Mr. You Were Born to Be Great himself. Here's Ty Howard.
Mr. Lightfoot, Dr. Grant, faculty, staff, parents, friends, and especially the amazing, the awesome Baltimore Lab School class of 2015. I want to thank you for inviting me to being your commencement speaker for such a great celebration today. And let me start off by congratulating each and every member of the graduation class. Thank you. You did it. Job well done. Give yourselves a round of applause. And who knew you did it all by yourself? No one helped you. But come on now. We all know better than that. You were helped and supported by family members, by friends, by educators, by administrators, by mentors, counselors. Everyone pushed for you, supported you. And even in some cases where some people wondered whether or not you would make it, they even prayed for you. And I want to thank each and every one of you here sitting out there. If you contribute to the success and the moment that we have arrived today, I want to applaud you all for being here and doing your part. Because I know what it feels like. It was a couple years ago, about 10 years ago, my mother, she was in the kitchen, she was preparing and cooking dinner. And I walked in to the kitchen and I looked at my mother and I asked her a question. I said, Mom, did you think I would be the person out of your 4 kids who would go on and do something significant or great with his life? And my mother looked at me and she said, stop it right there. Stop it right there. She said, no one in life, son, wins in life by themselves. She said, everyone gets help. Everyone gets support. So don't you dare ask that question without a sense of humility. And on that day, even then, my mother was still protecting me, correcting me, and teaching me for the woman that I knew and I always appreciated her to be. But I grew up here in Baltimore, as it was stated in my introduction. I grew up in South Baltimore in a community known as Cherry Hill. And most of you who are familiar with Cherry Hill, and those who are not, Cherry Hill is one of those communities. It's a low-poverty community. And normally, if you cut on your television and you hear Cherry Hill come on the news, normally 9 times out of 10, it isn't something good being said. And at the same time, to top that off, my brother and me, we were taken out of my mother's home by the Baltimore City Child Protective Agency and put into foster care at the age of 2. And 5 years later, we were allowed to go back to my biological mother's home, and she raised us. And she did the best she could. She taught us simply. She said, education, 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 education. She said, once you put it here, no one can take it from you. And I brought into that hook, line, and sinker. But I got to let you know, too, there are, and there still are, good people in Cherry Hill. We had a woman in our community, her name was Sandy. We called her Miss Sandy. And Miss Sandy was one of those women in the community where she believed all young people had the potential to be great, to do something significant with their lives. She believed that it didn't matter if you were the smartest and brightest kid in the neighborhood, or you were that kid in the middle, or you were the kid that most people in the community considered to be a bad seed. She always believed that every young person had potential. And when you would talk to Miss Sandy, she would always end her conversation with us by saying, "You be the one now. You be the one. You be the one." And we would often laugh and joke, what does she mean when she says, "Be the one"? And one day I was in my community and I was out playing with my friends and I came home, and at that time we had to be in before the street light came on. And I remember running home, and I made it home in time, and my mother was preparing dinner and she said, "Go ahead upstairs, wash your hands, come back down for dinner." And I came back down for dinner, and my mother, when I walked into the kitchen, my mother handed me this little rock. It was a beautiful rock, and it had the words, "Be the one," on the little rock. And I said, "Mom, where did you get this?" She said, "Miss Sandy told me to give it to you." So I said, "Why did she give it to you?" She said, "She just told me to give it to you." So the next day, I went to school and came back home from school, and I took this rock with me, and I went out into the community, and I found Miss Sandy, and I said, "What does it mean when you say be the one?" And she said, "Young man, that's your task. That's your journey to find out." But she said, "I'm going to let you know, when you connect with the true meaning and the essence about being the one, you will be able to positively be the one in good times, in okay times, but also in struggling and challenging and painful times." And I took that rock with me and I kept it on my dresser. And I can tell you today, I stand before you knowing what be the one is truly about. And graduates, this is what I come to share with you all today, because I know that you all have worked hard. I know that you all have given and done your best. And I've spoken to you all at least once or twice this school year, and I know the inspiration in your heart, the passion in your eyes to succeed and do your best. But being the one moving forward, the first thing is I want you all to walk away from today knowing that it's your job to be responsible. You are the architect of your future. Today, it's being fully handed to you. And to hear that each and every one of you are going on to college, are going on to higher education is amazing. Because I know the challenges that were before you and that still lie before you. There's still going to be mountains. There's still going to be uncertainties. There's still going to be doubts. But there's also going to be continued success and achievement for you. And the next thing I want you to know is to be resilient. Because there's always brilliance in your resilience. I spoke in Baltimore County at Catonsville Community College some years ago. And I was speaking to their peer mentoring program. And I met a young lady, her name was Sarah. And Sarah, she was graduating that year. And she befriended me on social media, on Facebook, and she followed my positive messages and all. And with Sarah, just a couple weeks ago, she posted a status. And she said, when I was at Catonsville Community College, she said, I joined some clubs and all, and people told me, hey, you have a learning difference, so you can just fake it. Act like you know what you're doing. And then she graduated, and she went on to Towson University. And she tried to become an advisor, and they rejected her there. And she wanted to join the peer mentoring program. They rejected her there. She tried to join the Honor Society the first time. They rejected her there. But as I read this status post, she was holding a certificate in her hand. This is her senior year at Towson University. And Sarah graduated. Before she graduated, she was inducted into the Honor Society. And she concluded her message by saying, don't ever quit. Don't ever give up. She said, try and try again. And that's what I'm encouraging each and every one of you, to be resilient, to try and try again. Be the one. And lastly, I want you to be in love. Yes, I said the word love. Be in love. I want you to be in love with your choices. Be in love with your purpose. Be in love with your passion. Be in love with your family. But ultimately, be in love with yourself. I hope and pray that there's never a day for you all where you stand up in the morning and look in the mirror and you're not in love with the person who you've become. I want you to positively be the one. Be the one who stands and cheers. Be the one who confronts your fears. Be the one who believes in self. Be the one who spreads the wealth. Be the one who strives for success, and be the one who gives your best. Class of 2015, be the one.